A few weeks ago, when Letha and I were on vacation out of state, it was Sunday morning and we decided to go to a local church for worship that day. And I know some of you are thinking that's insane. Go to church on vacation. Who would ever do that? But it's what we wanted to do, and we generally try to do that. But we arrived about starting time and walked into the church, and I hadn't shaved in several days, and I was wearing jeans and an older shirt. Walked in and pretty much immediately felt kind of out of place. Not so much because of the way the people were dressed, because they weren't wearing anything, really fancy, but because of the way people looked at us. And it may have been because we were guests and that church wasn't used to having guests, but I got the idea when I met the pastor. He came up and greeted us when he looked me up and down. Kind of got the impression that I wasn't real sure that I belonged there that day because of the way I was dressed, because of the way that I looked, and I was just assuming what he was thinking. So immediately I kind of broke into a very Christian greeting to him. God bless you, brother. Good to see you this morning. We're just here to worship the Lord with you, and it's going to be an awesome service. Looking forward to the blessings. And just immediately his demeanor changed, and he knew by my lingo that I was a member of the club, that that we belonged to the church, that we're Christians. And although that got me by at that moment and kind of broke the ice a little bit, it caused me to start thinking about, again, the idea of who really is welcome in the house of God, and who when they walk through the doors, what kind of reception do they receive? What kind of looks do we give them? And that's really troubled me since then, because I'm sure that I have been in that pastor's shoes when I met someone who maybe didn't look like they belonged with us. They weren't dressed quite right, or didn't look quite right, or maybe didn't smell quite right. Although I hope I smelled okay that day. I had showered. But you know what I'm talking about. Somebody who obviously they didn't get the memo. They don't know how to dress. And I'm afraid that there have been times that I, or we at the church where I serve, maybe have treated people differently, maybe by not welcoming them, or maybe gone overboard, overcompensated, just so that they would know, your kind of people are welcome here. I don't want to think about that. Had I think a related incident a year or so ago at our church, when a regular member of our church, was remarking that there was a car parked in the church parking lot during a Sunday service, and this person had placed a bumper sticker of a particular candidate, a presidential candidate, on the bumper sticker was on their back bumper, and this person made it very clear that there's a person here today who I guess is planning on voting for this presidential candidate of the other party. This person was surprised and a little miffed that would happen at our church, and I thought back on that and thought, man, how fine is our filter? Who really is welcome to come in to the house of God to worship? Are we looking only for people who are like us? Are the guidelines and the parameters such that say you have to dress like us, you have to live in the same part of town that we do, you have to know the lingo, you got to know the songs, you got to know the drill, you know when to stand, know when to sit, got to know who to vote for, got to know all the secret handshakes. And this concept has really bothered me because I'm afraid we have so segregated ourselves that even when someone who is different than us comes into a worship service, sometimes we think it's a novelty and kind of a token thing. Look how progressive we are. We actually have a person who is different than us here today. And I'm reminded of what Jesus said about God's house, which I believe is representative of the concept of worship in our lives. When he said that the Father's house will be a house of worship or a house of prayer for all people. And I think by making that statement, Jesus was kind of tearing down the walls, the barriers, our preconceived ideas of who really belongs and who we're going to welcome, like it's our house, like it's our family, like it's our friends. That's none of it belongs to us. It's all God's. It's God's house, God's family. He decides who's welcome, and apparently all are welcome. And so I want to work on that. I want to pray on that. I want to explore that and make sure that in my concept of worship in ministry, that I am not in the process of trying to establish some kind of elite club or exclusive church, but rather a place where all are welcome to come and to meet God and to worship God and to pray to God and to hear from God and have their lives changed. So God help us to make sure that all are welcome. Everybody's welcome.